rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, "The best of people are those who benefit others." How do we add value to life? Through good deeds, good investments, helping others, teaching good manners to our youth, thinking about our neighbors. The Islamic dream is not linked to gathering of wealth and living in luxury, but rather on conserving the human, social, and natural capitals which are considered as necessities. The Muslim entrepreneurs will not set up their enterprises merely for making profits, rather for ensuring social welfare in the form of producing hygienic products, halal products, making reasonable profit, and creating employment opportunities, and paying dues such as zakat and sadaqah. When I think about women in business, I always go back to the Muslim leader, Khadija radiallahu anhu. She was the first wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as a successful businesswoman who controlled one of the most important caravan trades in her time. She was knowledgeable, respected, and business savvy. Although there were many obstacles for women business owners during that time, Khadija radiallahu anha shows us that achieving financial independence and self-sustenance is a real possibility. Today, women are more likely than men to be self-employed. We make up 82.5% of lone entrepreneurs, compared to 69.8% of males. And they are almost half as likely as men to have a partner, 12.4%, compared to 22.9%. Now, if we round up what the challenges are for female entrepreneurs, what are they facing? You know, whether it's getting the business start off or some other, problems that they're facing. It's access to finance, societal norms, imposter syndrome, and believe me, I have had a lot of imposter syndrome, and feeling very alone. So according to the 2023 Global Women Entrepreneurship Monitor report, women were globally more likely than men to report starting a business due to job scarcity and to make a difference in the world. In fact, job scarcity is the #1 reason that most entrepreneurs started their business. Almost 3 in 4 women, 72.9%, cited this reason for business startups, compared to about 2/3 of men. And despite low Sustainable Development Goals awareness, about half of women entrepreneurs reported taking steps to maximize the social impact, and about 4/5 have taken steps to minimize the environmental impact of their business over the past year. So in terms of women, we're more compassionate, we're more caring, we're more nurturing. And now I take great pleasure in introducing Haja Sri Dato Haja Fatima. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Sorry, let me just try and find you the notes. So, the Honorable Dato Sri Haja Fatima Abdullah is a Malaysian politician from the party Pesaka Bhumiputera Bersatu, PBB, a component party of the ruling GPS coalition. She has served as the State Minister of Women, Early Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development of Sarawak under Chief Ministers Abang Abdullah Rahman Johari, Abang Obeng, Adenan Satem and Abdul Taib Mahmood since September 2011, and member of the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly, MLA, for Dalat since September 2001. I'm only going to say this about her because her CV is very long, and I need you to hear what she has to say. Please raise your hands for Haja.
Thank you, Dr. Hosna. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and salam Sarawak Maju Makmur. Dr. Husna and my fellow panel speakers. First of all, I would like to welcome everybody in this room. Thank you for coming to our session. And then also welcome to Sarawak. For the first timers, we really are delighted to welcome you, and please come again. Today, I'm going to talk about something different from the rest of the speakers. In 2013, our ministry with the Sarawak Women and Family Council has produced this book here called Sarawak Women in Business. This is a book, a coffee table book, which documents the successful women in Sarawak. There are 47 of them in 2013. Very, very successful and involved in different kinds of business, from interior decoration, hotel, food, event management, travel agency, food industry, construction, and so on. And some of them are actually in the room here, in the front row. I think I can see, Haja Juita is here. So in 2013, we have women who are already successful in a business, alhamdulillah. But what I'm going to share with you all today is not about this category of women, but I'm going to speak on what our ministry has done in order to help those women, to empower women in the B40 group, the disadvantaged and the needy, those who are in the poor category. Now, before I move on, let me say something about our state of Sarawak first. As you all know by now, Sarawak is situated on the island of Borneo, and it is the largest state in Malaysia, covering a vast expanse of approximately 124,450 square kilometers, with 45 administrative districts, and the population is very small, that is 2.9 million. But what is interesting and what is unique about Sarawak is in terms of its heterogeneous. Yeah? It has 40 ethnicities of diverse, different cultures, as well as different belief systems. With its unique geographical landscape, so we face various challenges in provision of infrastructure. Well, for you who have not been to other parts of Sarawak, only to Kuching, you say, what is she talking about? The roads are all there. Yes, that's part of it, part of the story. But because of the geographical largeness, the large state size of our state, we still have challenges in provision of infrastructure as well as connectivity. And for the more remote areas, infrastructure development is limited. We still, in some areas, we still use rivers as our means of transport, and the road is like using timber road in some remote areas. And then when we talk about the geography, the dense rainforest, we have the Dense Forest Music Festival every year. And then we have, especially in the 4th division, we have rugged terrains. And of course, these provide challenges for us to establish 100% transportation network to our people. This connectivity challenge impedes, to a certain extent, our economic growth and then access to essential services for our residents. So that is the background for us at the ministry with our work to empower women, especially in the remote areas. Urban areas have better infrastructure, as you can see in Kuching here, better infrastructure, connectivity, and then, of course, this has helped to lead to more economic activity, employment opportunities, and higher income levels. But on the other hand, we have rural areas, especially those more remote than others, face challenges with limited infrastructure and connectivity, thus leading to restricted economic growth opportunities and lower access to services, which in turn contributes to higher level of poverty in the rural areas. So we have to address the urban-rural gap. Kemudian, that's in Bahasa Malaysia. We have to address also infrastructure's challenges, connectivity challenges, and hence the inclusive economic development for better living standards of all. So for us in the ministry, this is the area that we are very focused on, to empower our women, especially in the rural areas, especially in areas where there is pockets of poverty. This also includes in urban areas. So under post-COVID development strategy 2030, our government is promoting social inclusivity through extensive social programs and very targeted interventions and community support. And one of our primary goals is to uplift and empower 20,000 poor households, lifting them out of poverty by aiming for an average monthly income of 2,150. This is a new poverty line index. So this not only addresses immediate financial challenges, but also contributes to building a more inclusive and a resilient societal fabric in the post-pandemic landscape. Hence, our goal is simple yet profound. That is, we are targeting our women, and we want to equip our women and their families, the skills, the knowledge and assistance that they need to not only to survive, but also to empower them through entrepreneurship. So for this, my ministry, through the Department of Women and Family and the Department of Social Welfare Service, have implemented various initiatives. Yeah? So first is capacity building. I think this is well known. If we want to build the capacity of a woman, skills, we have to focus on skills. So for skills training, our women skills, we have established Women Skills Training Center at our Women and Family Department. And this is a testament to our commitment to enhance the capabilities of women, especially those facing unique challenges. Income generating skills, so we have, as can be seen on the slide, so we train them, yeah, especially the B40, we are talking about the B40 group, train them through skills such as sewing, culinary, crafts, beauty and spa and massage, and provided through courses conducted for free. Not only in Kuching here, but also at diverse locations throughout Sarawak. And I'm very pleased to share that through these programs, we have successfully trained 7,210 Sarawakian women, with 43% of them bravely, I said bravely, venturing into entrepreneurship and cultivating sustainable income. That's what we want. We want them to be able to stand on their own feet. So the other one is IT skills. When COVID hit us, our premier talked about digital economy, which our woman doesn't understand. What is our premier talking about, you know? But when COVID struck us, then we understood what he meant, because Then we started to use our phone. The women use the phones to promote their products, to sell their products. And then they say, this is part of digital economy. So we have to train our women IT skills, because we know that IT skills play a crucial role in empowering our women entrepreneurs to thrive in today's digital business landscape. And in minimizing the gender gap in entrepreneurship and recognizing the crucial role of women entrepreneurs, our Department of Women and Families Sarawak joined hands with various other agencies, forming a strategic partnership to help our women. The collaborative effort involving Sarawak Digital Economy Corporation, Shopee Malaysia, Malaysia National University has empowered our women with digital literacy, ICT skills, and e-commerce prowess. So with this, they are taught how to market their products, how to do branding, and even how to use handphone. There is another department under ministry which also which is very focused on women as well as even men, who are categorized under B4T. So that is the Department of Social Welfare Sarawak. So similarly, their role is to empower the woman through various assistance, skills training, as well as monthly assistance to help them to become entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurship training programs, that's one, similar to what our family and women and family department. But for social welfare department, they focus on their clients who are the recipients of monthly assistance from the government, monthly assistance under various schemes, either under single mothers schemes, or it could be under people with disabilities. So for productive welfare, we see look at their potential in entrepreneurship, and we guide them and help them with assistance. So skills is important, but we know that after we provide them with skills, income generating skills, if they do not have the capital, so how could they move on? We are talking about the B40 here. So because of that, our government, okay, one more minute. Yeah? Because of that, our government provide capital grant. And when we talk about B40, it's very difficult to get grant, yeah? For them to get grant from the government. That is normally provided for those who have license. These are the B40 group, and it's difficult for them to get a license, where one of the conditions that is required is they must have license. And to have a license, they must have their own premise. They cannot have business at their house. So because of that, because we know that this group of our clients cannot get help or cannot get capital grant from what is normally provided to those who have license. So we have successfully got some grant budget from the government to help these entrepreneurs to start their business. That is, there's no need to have a license. You can operate from home to start with. So a grant of $500 each. The one-off cash assistance per recipient serve as an additional business capital, empowering household heads and single mothers alike. In 2022, 590 recipients benefited, while another 528 are eligible for this assistance this year. And based on our monitoring over 6 months for 2022, 81% of the 2022 recipients successfully earned income surpassing the poverty line income. And this is what we want. Come out of poverty first, and then they can move on after that. So the launching grant is one of the way how we help our B40 entrepreneurs to start their business. And then, of course, there are other grants under our social welfare department. They are, because they are our clients who receive monthly assistance, the single mothers and so on. So the government provides another type of grant that is 5,000 ringgit for them to be able to buy utensils and other things that they need to start. Now, at the same time, because we know the importance of having a license so that they can apply loan from bank and so on and get also assistance provided by the government and a different ministry. So concurrently, we are also helping our women how to apply for a license, apart from, of course, providing them with income generating skills now to improve their product, and then to help them to do the marketing and as well as branding, as well as the packaging for their products. Now, there is one thing that I want to mention. Just now, in the beginning, I said there are 40 different ethnic groups in Sarawak. Now, under our ministry, we don't look at who you are, I mean, what race you are, what religion you have. But one of the things that we focus on right from the start is first, whether you need help. It doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what race. When we talk about inclusivity, this is what is meant by inclusivity. No one should be left behind. For peace and prosperity, we have to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dato Sri Haja Fatima. So she's given us a fantastic overview of the challenges that are being faced by women in Sarawak. She's also been able to identify, in terms of the government, the solutions and the different programs, and also the financial assistance that's being provided in forms of grants, and also spoke about the gap between urban and rural. So, hopefully we'll get to hear more insights from you. I'd like to now introduce the rest of the panel, if I may. Miss Samina Akram, welcome. She's the managing partner of Samak Ethical Finances Limited from London, UK. Samina is the founder and managing partner of Samak Ethical Finance with a wealth of experience in the banking industry. She specializes in Islamic and ethical finance. She's worked in investment, private and commercial banks across a range of disciplines over the past decade. Her expertise and extensive knowledge have been crucial in bringing together key stakeholders for the expansion of the sector. She has long established working relationships with governments, investment banks, corporate investors, trade organizations, and senior industry executives. She's gained respect, public recognition, and multiple business awards for her exceptional contributions to the Islamic finance industry, including the United Nations Women's Federation for World Peace. She has won numerous Merrill Lynch Leadership Awards and has been shortlisted in the European Muslim Women of Influence list. Wow, mashallah. And then I'd like to introduce Dato Azlin Ahmed Shaharbi, the former President, Association of Bhumiputra Women in Business and Profession, Malaysia, Chairman, National Federation of Women Entrepreneur Associations, Malaysia. Dato Azlin is a senior legal counsel. She's got experience in a wide scope of law and has provided legal service and advice to clients, including banks, financial institutions, corporations, multinational companies, property developers, and statutory bodies during her 30 years in the legal profession. She currently focuses on corporate work, and Dato Azlin was the former president of the Association of Bhumiputra Women in Business and Profession from 2012 until 2020, I think. And which year? 2022, so 10 years, yeah. and is the chairman of the National Federation of Women Entrepreneur Associations Malaysia. She's been awarded several entrepreneur awards for her work, including ASEAN Leading Women Entrepreneurs Award in 2016, and was awarded Darja Paduka Mahkota Perak on 19th of August 2008 from His Royal Highness Sultan Azlan Shah for her contribution to the legal profession and the community. Welcome. Then we have Dr. Eri Tunurini Adhi, Chairperson, Asian Solidarity Economic Council, and Board Member, Bina Swadaya Foundation, Indonesia. Dr. Eri has over 25 years of experience with national government, international development agencies, national and international NGOs, and consulting firms, as well as communities. She's mostly focused on project management, community empowerment, and policy analysis. She's currently a board member of Yayasan Bina Swadaya Foundation in Indonesia and is the chairperson of the Asian Solidarity Economic Council. Welcome. And last but not least, from Azerbaijan, we have Mrs. Natavan Mamadova, Secretary General, National Confederation of Entrepreneurs. Natavan is the Secretary General of the National Confederation of Entrepreneurs in Azerbaijan, which aims to improve the business environment and develop entrepreneurship and public-private dialogue in Azerbaijan. Ms. Mamadova has over 20 years of professional experience in public and private sectors. Honestly, I just feel that all of these women have maybe had 5 years experience because they all look so young. But it's just amazing that, Anyway, they just, yeah. So experience in public and private sectors, IFIs and NGOs. She's interested in community and inclusive society building with a proven track record in stakeholder management, integration and public-private dialogue. Now, what I'd like to do is, going on from, thank you. So what I'd like to do is, going on from the presentation that Sri Hajja Fatima just did, I'd like to ask Dato Azlin to come in because your sort of focus is very much around NGOs and, I'm sure that in terms of accessing funding, that's been a huge issue. So what I'd like to ask you is, in terms of access to funding, we know that it's very crucial for women entrepreneurs. How, from your experience, can we improve access to financial resources and investment opportunities for women-led businesses, especially in Muslim-majority regions like, Malaysia? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, Dr. Husna, my esteemed fellow panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to everyone. So before I answer that question, Dr. Husna, I think I'll just give a backdrop on some statistics for Malaysian women entrepreneurs so that the answer to that question becomes, you can see it against the backdrop, yeah? Right, so in Malaysia, right, we have out of all the companies registered in our Companies Commission of Malaysia, 97% are SMEs. All right, small and medium enterprises. Out of that 97% SMEs, 80% are micro entrepreneurs, which means that by definition in Malaysia, it's where you have 5 or less employees or sales of 250,000 per year or below. All right, and most of the women entrepreneurs in Malaysia, they are in this category, in this micro entrepreneurs category, and in fact, out of the companies registered in Companies Commission of Malaysia, 22% or something like that is women-owned business, right? Which is actually very, it needs a lot of improvement because in terms of population in Malaysia, we are at 50-50, nearly 50-50, but there's only about 22% of the companies registered in CCM which are women-led businesses. So this issue about access to funding is a very popular issue. I think a lot of people, when we have seminars on funding and access to funding, we find that a lot of people like to come for this, right? But on my personal experience, I find that I'm not so sure whether that's actually a big problem or it's just being used as if it's a big problem. You see, because first of all, as I said just now, if women as micro entrepreneurs, a lot of them are unbanked. That means they don't even have bank accounts. Some are underbanked, which means they have basic bank accounts, but they don't have all the other loans and all that. And some are in the informal sector, right? Like Datuk Sri said just now, the informal sector. Actually, for Semenanjung, informal sector is actually illegal. So sometimes I don't know why people like to talk. I mean, YB Datuk Sharifah Hasida is here, Deputy Minister of Law. But for Semenanjung, right, if you are in informal sector, you're actually illegal. You can't operate as an entrepreneur without registering your business. But somehow the government seems to say that, okay, we'll do this for informal sector as if it's okay, right? So if you're in the informal sector, it stops you from getting a lot of financing and things like that. And also, if you're an enterprise, sometimes the banks, feel a little bit reluctant to give because of the liability issues, actually, right? So women are there, some are underbanked, unbanked, informal sector, enterprise, which makes it difficult to have access to financing. But if you look at it the other way, right, for all the financing that's given to entrepreneurs in Malaysia, there's a lot of financing given to entrepreneurs. The main issue for women entrepreneurs is actually the documentation. This has been repeatedly said, the documentation about audited accounts, how many years audited accounts and all that, right? So I feel that if that's the issue, which has been, it's been said all the time. Every time we talk about it, we talk about this documentation issue, but the banks won't, look into it or decrease, the stringent requirements, right? And then we are not doing anything much to help, this situation. So it's going to be the case all the time. So I think, we need to really go down to the ground and help the women entrepreneurs to make sure that all these documentations are okay, or segmentize the financing. That means this group of people, you help them and all that. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Harry.
Okay, thank you.
You've come up with some key questions around banking, around access to opportunities. So I just want to bring in Samina here, because obviously your background is banking, and you'd be able to give us some reflections. How can we ensure that women empowerment initiatives are inclusive and considerate of the diverse backgrounds, including ethnic and religious diversity of women in business, and in terms of access, in response to what Eri was saying? If you can, 3 minutes, please.
3 minutes.
Well,
first of all, I'd like to thank the ICCIA and the Global Muslim Business Forum for asking me to be amongst such a distinguished panel of speakers. And also Dr. Husna, I just wanted to say that it's been incredible to see the recognition you're getting at this conference for all your work. And, the Deputy Prime Minister last night mentioned her name. And I think when women win, we all win. And so you're a brilliant example and an inspiration to all of us. So thank you for all that you do. Now, very quickly answering the question, in terms of diversity, instead of diversity, so I'm going to go into my story a bit later on, but I remember I had just left a very prestigious job, and I went back out in the market looking for work, and I was interviewed by a large investment bank. And when I walked in, he looked at me and he said, so my specialism in Islamic finance, we're not interested in Islamic finance. However, you've got that kind of look, if you know what I mean. I think you should focus on Middle East sales. And he said, but to get far in my bank, you're going to have to take off the hijab, and you're going to have to wear size 6 outfits. And he said, I'm just being honest with you because I think your career is going to flourish. Now, that night, I was shocked because it's just, So I remember going back that night, tossing, turning, not sleeping, crying, thinking, I should have said something. What's wrong with me? Why did I walk away in silence? But you know what? Sometimes things happen in our lives, not to knock us down, but for us to set something in us, a fire, a purpose. And I really think that was the beginning of my journey. So thought, no, I'm going to go away. I'm going to actually set up my own business. And you know what? You large investment bank, you're going to be my client. And you know, subhanAllah, we'll go into my story a bit later on, but just last year, this very client, they don't know who they are, they don't know the story behind it, but they're very interested in our work. And this story was what actually fueled me to set up the Women in Islamic and Ethical Finance Forum. We literally started with 30 members, and mashallah now we have over 18,000. We have some of the world's biggest players supporting us from, I know you're doing some work with the World Bank, so we've worked very closely with the World Bank, with the United Nations, the UK government, various governments around the world. Some of our corporate members are Moody's, so we've just launched a leadership program with them. We've worked with Schroders, ING, KPMG, and a lot of like these conservative firms interested in accessing Islamic finance, not knowing anything about it. They're coming to us. And you know what's so amazing is our forum today is 50-50 gender. So in terms of like the gender balance is men and women that are supporting us. In terms of the diversity, we have people from all over the world. The objective of the forum is obviously women empowerment. We're the world's first focusing on empowering women for Islamic finance and also in the ESG space. And you know what's so powerful is people have had enough. Dr. Husna, you mentioned early on that, you know, especially women, they're the ones that are saying that we want to leave legacies behind, we want to stand for something. So over the years, we're seeing that women, when you know, we have an application form, why do you want to join our forum? The men just want to access the women's wealth in the Middle East. Whereas the women are the ones that are like, we want to support network, we want to change the world. And during what's happened more recently, we're seeing the applications have gone up, especially in the West. There's a lot of Muslims that, you know, in the Deloittes of the world and the Goldman Sachs feeling very lonely, questioning their purpose. They're coming to us now, and it's like, you know, we want a safe place to challenge what's happening out there. How can we join your forum? So I think it's incredible that we're seeing a narrative shift, right? People are, you know, standing for something. And I really feel the female energy in particular, it's almost now needed to bring some balance to the world. And you know, obviously men have something different, women have something different. But when we recognize our gifts and we come together and we work together and we collaborate, that's when, you know, true change happens. So I feel quite honored actually that I'm on this journey, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Samina. That's amazing. And it's interesting what you said about women energy in this world, because quite a few people have touched upon the Israel-Gaza crisis. And what I know is that when the IRA were, you know, having all the issues in the UK, it was two Irish women who got together, who, you know, started the peace process, and, you know, we saw something happen. So I think, you know, women have to play a role, honestly. You were talking about sustainability, so I would like to bring Dr. Eri into this now, because Dr. Eri, you know, we've had the Sarawak experience, we've, you know, spoken about Malaysia. In terms of Indonesia, in what ways can economic empowerment initiatives specifically tailored for women contribute to sustainable development in Indonesia? You have 3 minutes. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And then at the first as well, for me, it's grateful to be here in the very important and then meeting with a lot of women as well, the men who encourage as well for the women empowerment. So in what ways can economic empowerment initiatives, especially tailored to the women, contribute to sustainable development? We have first to understand, refer to the term of SDGs to have more common perceptions on sustainable development, at least SDGs number 1 about the poverty alleviations, and then the third about ensure healthy lives and promotes well-being, and then the SDGs 15 about social protections and reduce inequalities, and SDGs 16 on promote peaceful and inclusive societies. All those things I think is caring by women. And then as we know, how the economic empowerment tailored to the women contribution. So actually we have to realize that in the world there is 2 types of the economic. At the first, economic that based on the based on the financial capital. We call it as a capitalism. And the second is the economic system which based on the social capital, and this is economic solidarity. So my platform is more from the economic solidarity, which economic should be built not only based on the how capital you have, but should be respect to the nature, has respect to the solidarity, and respect of the based on the network, and put the people prior of the profit. So therefore, I think this kind of the paradigm, economic solidarity, is suit to the women, mostly as you told, the women economic, as you, Dato Azlin shared, and then a lot of the voices of caring to each other. So, and then, that means the problems and not actually the how much that the government or the development can provide the job opportunities. The problems now we are facing is the quality of jobs, has been mentioned by Ibu Dato Azlin, the same numbers in the Asia, that mostly economic entrepreneurs are dominated by the SME and mostly by the micro entrepreneurs, and then 60% of them are the women's. So that means women are in the most groups that vulnerable, impacted by the untouched by the policy in the informal sector. So this is what I want to say, that the quality of jobs, in the poor quality of jobs mostly impacted by the women. At the first, because they are informal, they cannot reach by the government policies and then services. Difficult access to finance might be, and do not receiving the social protections, and so many things. Can you imagine? That means two burden they have. They have to earn for their family, and the second has to have as well to survive for better living. So therefore, come the core questions. How can we contribute? So therefore, from the perspective of the economic solidarity, I will to promote the social enterprises. That means the enterprises now become, there is two types. The enterprises where put the profit among the people, and the second, the enterprises who put the people above the profit. And this kind of the enterprises mostly are backed by or lead by the women, the social enterprises. In the Asia, the numbers of social enterprises is growing. 60% in the Malaysia as well. I think Malaysia is one of the country who supported the development of the social enterprises. So, as the data as well said, that 60% of the social enterprises lead by the women. So, and then with the mission itself, with the double of points, that means prosperity and the social, lead by the women. So then I'm sure if we promoting the social enterprise, then more women will be helped, because women will support the women. So this is, I think, the one that could answer your questions, Dr. Husna. In what way the economic empowerment initiative tailored to women. So that means the economic initiatives, that means that we have to empower the social enterprises that mostly managed by the women. So we have to build the capacity, because this is different management between the just general entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurship. In the social entrepreneurs, there are two missions again. You will solve the social problems, inclusions, environment, defable, elderly, and so on, in the same times that you will as well earn your prosperity, the profit we call it or surplus we call it in the term of social enterprise. So I think the social enterprise will be the solutions for sustainable economic, for the sustainable development. That means to reduce the gap that cannot fulfilled by the government. I'm sure that particularly Indonesia, which has 200 and more populations. Sarawak is only 2 million, ma'ams, The complexity is so most. Therefore, the Indonesian's government has well support as well the development of social enterprises. Interestingly, many young people interested to this kind of the entrepreneurship. They call it, that is cool, social entrepreneurship. They work with the missions, work closely with the community. So I hope this answer your questions, ma'am.
Thank you so
on
much,
how
Dr. Eri.
economic empowerment tailored to the women contribute
We're very
to
conscious
SDGs.
that Dr. Eri also has to catch a flight. So what I want to do before I bring in Mrs. Natavan, if I may just open the floor to get one or two questions, if anyone has anything specifically to ask Dr. Eri. Make it very short, I'm giving you 30 seconds, so if anyone has any questions, if you can put your hands up now. Any questions? Nope? Okay. Okay, so if I can ask everyone to give a round of applause to Dr. Eri, because I know before she leaves. And thank you so much. Do you have five more minutes at least? Or?
Yes, I think I still have 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. Okay, that's good. So I just want to bring Natavan in, because in terms of bias, gender bias, this has come up in the conversation, and people have experienced this. I mean, Samina's had a terrible experience of that. What strategies have you employed or observed effectively, which effectively challenge and overcome gender bias in the workplace? And how can these strategies be implemented more broadly from your experience, your personal, and from your work? Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. I came from Azerbaijan. It's far, far away. And before attending this meeting, I was attending Asian Development Bank Gender Forum. So it has been 2 weeks since I'm discussing these topics. And when we're talking about gender bias, at least in our geography, I believe that it starts not at the workplaces. It starts much, much earlier. It starts with our own families, usually. And that was my case. I'm the first child in the family, then I have my brother. And I analyzed that all my childhood I wanted to be a boy, because he was treated differently. He had some like a treatment or advantages which I didn't have back those days. And those are the biases. And when you are accepted differently than your brother, when you are told by your mom that you can't go there because you are a girl, you can't sit in a way because you are a girl, you are not supposed to do because you are a girl, know your place because you are a girl, this is where all those gender biases started. It starts far, far, far from when we start working. And then we grow up, we go to the school, where we see probably, and we enter the school with that mind that we are different, that we are not that well equipped, that we are weak, we are supposed to know our places, etc. And then we have it, but we have that flavor through all our life. And when we enter the workplaces, it is the same, because those boys also were hearing that women, the girls, they should know their place, they can't. For example, in my family, Azerbaijan is the part of the former Soviet Union, one of those 15th republic. And I was the first in our family who was driving a car 20 years ago. It was accepted so badly, and my grandmother would tell me that we can't live with that disgrace. And would I ask her, tell me where is written that I can't drive. Show me, I want to know, is it in Quran? Is it in Hadiths? And she said, I don't know where it is, but you can't do that. So I went through a lot of battles that way. So that's why when we're talking about the biases, gender biases, before going to the workplaces and implementing certain strategies, like maybe reducing work hours, or I like this much, the training programs, having there at workplaces, promoting, at the ADB Gender Forum, there was someone talking about that Indonesia, you have probably Ministry for State-Owned Enterprises, and they have a rule that they will be making sure that all those state-owned enterprises have at least 50% of the board members as women. So before going there, I believe that we have start changing those biases at the home. We have to make sure that our girls are very dear to us. And then they will stand up for themselves. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Eri, one final question to you. And I know that you've got to go anyway. So what policy changes or reforms at local, national or international levels do you believe would have the most significant impact on advancing women's empowerment in business and leadership?
Okay, dear participants and speakers here, we have actually a good momentum. Social solidarity economy has been acknowledged by the ILO that this platform, this economic system can contribute significantly to the decent work. As well, in this year, in February, the United Nations has as well issued the letter saying that the social solidarity economy will accelerate the achievement of the SDGs. So what does it mean? That means this kind of type of the social enterprises or inclusive business will be the future of business in the world. So we are in that positions. Therefore, we have to encourage the government, civil society, all the private sector, to follow this principle. What is the principle? At the first, business with the ethic, not only profit among the people, but in first, people above the profit. And the second, participatory development. And the third, will good benefit for the people. And the fourth is the conservations and environmental conservations. And the fifth should be, as other business, should have an economic sustainability. That means we don't want to be only the social missions, but as well economic sustainability. So therefore, this is the momentum that we have to support the government to promote the inclusive business actually. The ASEAN Secretariat has announced the framework of the inclusive business. That means that is not only the business that doing by the NGOs or social enterprise, which mostly stigmatized by the small scale enterprises, but as well the middle and up businesses. They have to follow the rules. They have to put the human right into the business process. So this is actually our challenges all here. Ibu Minister and all the governmental here, that we have to strengthen, to promote the government and this. But again, the last but not least, inclusive business, social solidarity economy could not be profound without the strength of civil society. So that means we have as well to bring the civil society, strengthening them, and then making them as well to convince, to do the business model, the social enterprises as basic tools for the advocacy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Dr.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the hurry because the flight is waiting for me. They don't want to.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the
Bye-bye.
discussion.
So I would like to bring in Hajja, Sri Hajja Fatima here. How, as a role model, I mean, she's a minister doing some outstanding work, as a role model, how can we encourage and facilitate more women to take on leadership roles in government, to encourage businesses and encourage more women to be involved?
Thank you, Dr. Husna. Now, in the room here, let me introduce. I have Deputy Minister, Dato' Hajjah Sharifah Hasida. She is Minister in charge of law and federal and state relationship. And she has been with me also as Deputy Minister for Early Childhood before. And next to her is Permanent Secretary to my ministry, Puan Noria. And then those ladies in pink are actually from the Dewanita, that is entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship, or women entrepreneurs. And there are others also in this room. I see another lady, Sharnaj. She is in our Women and Family Council. Let me see any more. Yeah, Puan Salma at the back there. Puan Salma, she is the head of our family and women development. So you can see that slowly in Sarawak, we can see an increase in the number of women in decision-making positions. And we attribute this, number one, to the increase in the number of women able to go to tertiary education. In fact, if we look at the percentage of women in universities, we have more women than men now. So I would like to congratulate the women for this, because it's through education that we can move on, we can move forward. And then number two, I have always mentioned to our women, when you are in this position, decision-making level, the yardstick that is used to see how capable you are. So the yardstick used for men and women is different. We have to accept that. We have to work extra hard. So to be able to move further and to be able to be where we are, that is a fact. I think the ladies agree. Different yardstick used to assess us. Now, when you are in that position, alhamdulillah, but you have a very big responsibility. You have to be a role model. That's one. In every aspect, not only in the area that you have been entrusted, be it in business, be it as the leader in an organization or a department or in the ministry. So you have to be very good at it. And number two, in terms of your behavior, we are still women. And there are certain things that are expected of us, being the wife to our husband, and then our role in the family and to our children. You will still be judged by that as well. So when you are in that position, you have to be a role model in every aspect. And then otherwise, people say, you see, you put a woman as a leader, you see what she can do, broken families or whatever it is. So we have to be very mindful of that. And number three, you have a responsibility to help the other woman, to open doors for them. If not for us, who else will open doors for women? So when you are there, don't forget, don't just think about yourself. There are others, our women folks, that need to be helped, to be given an opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We haven't got long left, so what I'd like to do is I'd like each of the remaining speakers to spend 2 minutes on the questions I'm going to ask you, if that's okay. On leadership, Samina, I'd like to ask you, in terms of your journey from transitioning from investment banking into entrepreneurship, you've given us a little bit of insight. How do you feel mentors have influenced your personal journey? 2 minutes, yep.
So very, very quick background into how I got from an investment banker. Can you hear me? Can you hear? From how I got to an investment banker to an entrepreneur. So I worked for various banks in the private sector, in private banking, commercial and investment. And then somehow I found myself at Merrill Lynch. Now, I was working in a middle office-y kind of role. And to be honest, I was so bored. So you can tell I'm very chatty, I like people, and it's just looking at legal documentation and boring things all day. Sorry if anyone works in compliance or any of these industries. But I used the Merrill Lynch diversity platform. So those of you know them, it's quite a big bank, 40,000 people globally. Within the UK, we had various kind of diversity platforms, women empowerment, black empowerment, all sorts. I would join those forums. From there, I discovered the South Asian network. So as a Muslim working at Merrill Lynch, I was questioning, should I even be here? I went on to a weekend course. There I met Shah Nizam Yaqubi, one of the world-renowned scholars, and he was sitting on our Merrill Lynch board and other investment banks board. So I asked him if can I even be working in a bank? And he said, of course. He said, listen, when we set up Islamic banks, it's no different from setting up conventional. We need to learn from them. We need IT, we need HR, we need various resources. However, what's the difference between an Islamic and a conventional bank? That transparency, honesty. We saw what happens in the credit crisis. It was legalized gambling. People didn't know really what they were investing in. It was the wrong leaders. This is what Islamic banks are questioning. So he really inspired me. So I would say he was definitely one of my greatest mentors that actually gave me some guidance and said, go back to Merrill Lynch, learn banking, and then set up your own bank. So then I'd say there were a lot of issues, a lot of obstacles, but alhamdulillah, by using various initiatives, I highlighted Islamic finance to the most senior people within the bank. I used this interbank multicultural network to organize an event on Islamic finance. It was the 10 investment banks of the world that I managed to convince. It took me a year to do so much politics. But I learned a lot about being strong, about not allowing people to take your ideas. Because as women, you know, we are, especially with me, because I'm quite short and petite, and they'll just come in, let me knock you down. It's like, aha, you don't know what you're dealing with here. Be assertive. Not rude, but you do need to be assertive. So, alhamdulillah, we organized this event on Islamic finance. We
Sameen, I'm
had 10
sorry,
investment
we're
banks.
running out of time.
I'm
So if I
running
can
out of
pass
time.
on the
Sorry,
next
okay,
question.
we'll come back.
So if I can bring in Dr. Azlin, I want to ask you about leadership as well in terms of your, you know, yourself. How do you feel that you became a leader? I'm only allowed to give you 1 minute now. Sorry, the time's going down because I want to do the closing ceremony. Just in terms of your leadership journey, you know, who do you feel has helped you and supported you? Who were the role models that you had or mentors?
Okay, so being a professional, you know, I think since I started my career, I never had any problem with this gender biases at all. Maybe because I've got my own firm and I'm on my own. You know, sometimes it detaches you and you are your own person. You can do whatever you want. You don't have a boss. I mean, it's like the world is your oyster. It's up to you. And that's the best thing about being an entrepreneur, actually. Right? You can do whatever you want, and you can reduce this, gender biasness, because there's a lot of places that you can go on your own. And actually, my own experience, Dr. Usna and everyone. This thing about women helping women. Actually, I have not been helped by many women. All right, I would say that if I wanted to, go for a meeting when I knew that there was a woman there, the chances are that the woman will not help me. Right, and I've had more help from men, actually. I'm sorry to say this, and I think this is something that we need to do something about. Yes. We need to do something about this, because we always say that women should support other women, and there's even the code of Medellin.
People feel threatened.
To feel threatened, but that shouldn't be the case. Then if they don't, we don't help other women, then who's going to help the women? So I think this needs to change. We need to do more program.
Natavan, what's your experience? Do you feel that women are helping you or not helping you?
Well, unfortunately, not that much. Back more when I was younger. I do my best to be a mentor. I always have mentees. In my case, my mentor was organization. I am former World Banker. And the World Bank was the one who shaped my mind as the leader and on this journey. But for sure, just to support what has been saying, I would like to cite the Madeleine Albright, who says that there should be special place in the hell for women who don't support otherwise. I want to stick to that.
Goodness.
Let's support each other.
Thank you. Now, I just want one word, okay, not a sentence, not a paragraph, just one word from each of you in terms of the people in the room. What would you advise them in terms of helping? What's your immediate thought? Just one word to help build women.
I think believe in yourself.
Okay.
Okay, believe.
Empower. It includes a lot.
Faith.
Faith. And yourself?
I would also say empower.
Empower. Okay. Well, if you can all give the ladies a round of applause. I just want to end by saying the hummingbird. I feel that every single woman on this panel and all the women here are the hummingbird. The hummingbird story is there was a fire in the forest, and the hummingbird went to the river with its small little beak to bring the water to put the fire out. And all the animals were leaving the forest, but they watched him, the hummingbird, and they wondered what's happening. And so then more animals came to support and put the fire out. So, you have to have courage, you have to have the initiative, and I think every, one of these ladies are hummingbirds in their own worlds. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.